Standing outside, night air, cigarette, not because it's cool, because something inside needs taming. And this is what I've got right now. Music playing, something that hits you in a place you don't have words for. I was listening to this. Big Head Todd. It's bittersweet. More sweet than bitter, more bitter than sweet. And you feel it. In your chest, in your hands, in the cold air on your skin. You don't want to talk about it. You work around it. You work your way around each other as you tremble, as you bleed. And that's shadow work for people who live in their bodies. You already do it. You just don't call it that. The cigarette, the drink, the drive with the windows down, the workout that's really a conversation with something you can't name. This is phase 2C. We map the damage in phase 2B. Nervous system stuck on, defense mechanism weaponized. Shadow and demon turned against you instead of protecting you. It's not your fault. You're not broken. These are normal responses to abnormal inputs. But now we need tools. And here's the thing. You already have some. You've been using them your whole life. You just didn't know that's what they were. So let's go to the 4 types within the Artisan category. There's 4 variants. I'll give you the MBTI letter code if you happen to know yours or that system. If not, the names work fine. And every single one of you will try and get out of this. I just know, so do I. Let's start with the catalyst, or the ESFP. They'll turn shadow work into a group event. We should all do this and it'll be fun. Then it stays surface because going deep is not fun. Another type, the Maverick or the ESTP. They already figured it out. Took 5 minutes, they're done, moving on. But they didn't figure it out. Next, we have the Artivist or the ISFP. Actually the closest to doing the work because they feel deeply and honestly, but will express it through art and never translate it into words or action. It's a beautiful painting. You make your whole life art, but it doesn't mean you've done any integration. And last, we have the lone wolf, or the ISTP. They'll take apart the entire mechanism of shadow work as if it were an engine and understand exactly how it operates. And somehow never apply it to themselves. Interesting system. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Which one just described you? If you're an artisan and you're listening to this, could be an artisan. If it doesn't fit, there's 3 other playlists. There's part of everyone that's an artisan, though. Anyway, if it landed, good. That's the one that's going to fight you the hardest on this. Shadow work asks you to be still. And I know that's the worst part. So here's the deal. The shadow, or the unconscious, doesn't talk in anything direct at all. No clear instructions, no do this. It speaks in symbols, images, and feelings in the body without names. And I know what you're thinking. Just tell me what to do. But you already know the language. That cigarette in the night air, that's your body saying something your mouth won't. That tension in your shoulders, that thing you do with your hands when you're stressed out, that way you drive too fast when you're angry, that song that hits you at 2 a.m. and you don't know why, but you have to play it 4 more times. That is your shadow talking through your body. You've been getting the messages your whole entire life. So we're going to learn that language. It's body first, symbols second, dreams, if you can catch them. And that's not abstract, really. It's physical. You've been listening to the wrong channel all along. You just didn't know it was a channel. You just thought there was the mind, but your body's a channel too. Let's look at dreams first. Look, some of you don't remember your dreams, and, that's fine. You live in the present pretty much. You're not naturally looking backward at what happened while you were asleep. But here's the trick. Keep a notebook by the bed, a pen or pencil. The second you wake up, before you move, before you check your phone, scribble whatever's there, whatever you remember. Don't think about it, just catch it. Like catching something in the act, in the air. Note the emotion. Were you angry, scared, trapped, rushing? And your stress level, like the day before and waking up. Stress dreams for artisans. You know these even if you don't remember many dreams. Ones like you can't move, you can't run, you're locked in a room, being held down. It's a loss of your freedom. Something or someone has you pinned and you can't act. I had some patients track their dreams, the stress level plus the dream emotions. Over time, the pattern shows up, even for people who said they never remember dreams. Not every dream is some deep message either. Sometimes you just ate too much and watched something weird before you went to bed. But wake up, write it down anyway. Let the pattern do the talking. Let's look at symbol systems, because Carl Jung, who invented the depth psychology here that we're using, used symbols with patients. They're like archetypal images. They're images and symbols you'd see everywhere, you just aren't aware until you start looking. So if you show someone a picture, watch how they react, because the reaction is the thing that's the data. And there are hundreds of systems out there. We're not going into those today. Here's what I want to talk about instead. What did you do as a kid? What did you build with your hands? What did you take apart? What sport did you play and what position? What other activities did you do? That wasn't random. Goalkeeper is a different unconscious choice than a striker. A catcher is a different choice from being shortstop. Your body chose before your mind even had a word for it. What music did you play, not just listen to? Drums versus guitar versus bass. Different energy, different archetype. Or video games you played. What character class? What playstyle? Stealth or tank? Rush or patient? Those choices are your unconscious expressing itself through action, because that's how you process, through the doing. And if you have ink, you already put your unconscious on your body somewhere. What did you choose? And why? And I don't mean the story you just tell people. I mean, why did that image need to be on your skin? That shadow content you're already carrying. You just framed it as decoration. And some of you don't just use creative tools, you make them. Those mandala coloring books, the other temperaments use for shadow work, I told them all to do that. And Artivist probably designed those. You create the doorways that other people walk through, and that's not nothing. You guys can create mandala coloring books. You can get all the tools online, and it's really cool, and then coloring actually calms you down. Anyway, that's a gift. But making the door isn't the same thing as walking through the door yourself. If your reaction to all this is overthinking it, maybe. But your body made choices your mind never explained to you. Those choices are talking and speaking to you if you listen. So let's talk about this active imagination. It was Carl Jung's method. He wrote a book about it called The Red Book, where he talked to his imagination, had a dialogue with these unconscious figures. It was published by his family after he died, but it's worth a look. Now, I'm not going to call this dialogue with your unconscious for you. I'm going to call it sparring with your shadow. You know that thing you do at night? Standing outside, drinking your hands, smoke if you've got one, and something's there? Something you can feel but can't say? That's it. That is the thing. Don't run from it. Turn toward it. Close your eyes. Where do you feel it? In your chest, in your gut, in your throat, in your jaw. That's your entry point. Stay there. Ask it, what do you want? Then, what do you really need? And how do you feel when you get what you need? Those are 3 questions that come from a man, Liam Christopher, a practitioner who teaches on YouTube. It's a solid framework, but you don't need to buy into all the mystical to actually use that framework. It is pretty cool though. Now, what triggers you? What makes you want to put your fist through a wall? Let's look at the different types. The catalyst gets furious at fake, boring people who suck the life out of everything. The Maverick can't stand incompetent people in charge who don't know what they're doing. The Artivist is enraged by people who betray your trust and then act like nothing happened. And the lone wolf loses it at people who try to control you and tell you what to do. That thing that makes you want to break something? That's your door. The charge you feel about other people is connected to something that really is inside of you. And I know that's hard to hear and you don't want to hear it, but try and hear it anyway. Your unconscious speaks through what you make. So the mandalas that Jung drew, he drew them every day during his worst periods in life. They were circular, unplanned. What comes out, comes out. You don't want to draw? Like I said, get a coloring book and some markers. It sounds simple, but it's accessing your unconscious anyway. You'll look at what you did and wow. And again, it calms your parasympathetic nervous system down, which is calming and you need it with all that stuff that drives you up the wall. But for artisans, it's bigger than drawing. What do you make when nobody's watching? What do you build when there's no assignment? Just because you want to? Do you work with wood, metal, food, music, movement, theater? The thing you do with your mind and your hands when your mind isn't directing them? That's the channel. I used to draw spirals and infinity signs all over my notebooks in high school. I did art therapy and made all these paintings that had unconscious symbols in them. At the time, I had no idea why. But now I'm building a framework about consciousness, integration, and infinite patterns. Haha. So, as a teenager, my unconscious was leaving me breadcrumbs decades before I knew how to read them. And your unconscious is smarter than your conscious brain. Don't argue with me on that. It just is. It knows way more. And I'm teaching you this here because there are just some things going on. The mental health system cannot handle the demand right now. There aren't enough therapists. It takes forever. It costs a lot. I mean, if you can find a good therapist, find one. But not everything needs that clinical medical setting. We can do some grassroots work ourselves. People doing the work alongside each other in person. Now, you show up when you want and you leave when you're done. That's how you work, I get it. But this one takes longer than 5 minutes. And it takes longer than one session, but stay with it anyway. Not because someone told you to, because this is the thing that actually needs more than a quick fix. Because maybe you're tired of standing outside alone, taming something with a cigarette and a drink. Maybe it's time for somebody else to stand out there with you. And the doom scrolling, let's talk about that. You're an action person watching other people's actions on a screen. That's not living. That is spectating. And you hate spectating. Those apps are like essentially a dopamine drip. They feel like doing something, but you're not doing anything. You're sitting still getting hit every 3 seconds, so your brain thinks your body is active. It's addictive on purpose. But your body is not active. So put the phone down. Go do something with your hands, with other people, something real. And tools. Let's review them. The dreams capture. Quick, don't overthink it. Just catch it as soon as you wake up. The symbol systems. The body already chose them. Think about it. Sports, ink, music, games. What do you build? Sparring with your shadow. Body first. Ask it the 3 questions and see what pushes back. That's info for you. Then let's look at creative expression, whatever your hands do when no one's directing them. And community, in person, longer than one session. You're the ones who actually do the things. While everyone else is planning and feeling and organizing, you act. But if you're acting from shadow, you're building on a crack. Do this work so when you move clean. And it's a bittersweet surrender. More sweet than bitter, more bitter than sweet, like that song I listened to that night. But surrender isn't losing. It's putting down the thing that was never a weapon anyway. Next episode, where to point those tools. Your shadow isn't random. It's predictable. And I'll show you exactly where it hides. For each of you four, I'll see you there.